Okay, so let's have a look at this writing task 1. So you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. So what I recommend is don't worry about the time it takes yet. Just figure out how to write this first. It just takes lots of practice how to write these task 1s. And then once you understand how to write them, then you work on writing it within 20 minutes. That's the way to do it. It just takes work. Okay, so let's have a look at this. The bar chart below shows the figures for imprisonment in 5 countries between 1940 and 1990. So what do we need to do? We have to write a report for a university lecturer describing the information shown below. So we're describing the information. Okay, so the bar chart is from 1940, 1950, 1960, 1970, 1980, 1990. And we have to write a minimum at least 150 words, not 149 words, not 140 words, 150 words upwards. So it's a minimum of 150 words. So as long as you cover all of these parts, you will cover your task achievement. So let's look at the countries. So we have Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand, United States, Canada. So this is Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand, United States, and Canada. Okay, so we're looking for similarities, first of all. The first thing that springs to mind here is, if you look at this red, United States. Now, out of all of the decades, United States has the most prisoners. And second is Canada. Is that consistent? That one, second, 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 second. Okay. Now, what else do we have? We have a pattern here. Goes up. Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand. Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand. Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand. Now look at this. There's a little V here, a little V. Now this one here, still higher. Now what else do we see? I'll tell you what I see. Great Britain here. Increase. Kind of tapers off here. Increase. 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 Look at the United States. Increase, taper off, decrease, increase. New Zealand, increase, tapered off, taper, taper, increase, decrease. So that's the first thing that I would do. Just have a look for patterns, have a look for similarities in the bar chart. So it gives you an idea of what you're looking at. So here we've got a model answer for this activity. So this would be an 8+. So let's have a look at what it says. So the provided bar chart illustrates that imprisonment rates across the 5 specified nations followed no uniform trend of increase or decrease. So uniform means it goes up constantly or goes down, but this it fluctuates. So instead, the data reveals significant fluctuations. So basically, fluctuation is like this. That's what a fluctuation looks like. Even if you see a partial, so if it goes up, then it's kind of levels off, then goes up and then down. It's a fluctuation. So let's have a look. Instead, the data reveals significant fluctuations between the different countries over the 50-year period. Right. Now, in Great Britain, prison populations grew consistently, rising from approximately 30,000 in 1940. So this is Great Britain. 30,000 is about here. So obviously it doesn't have 30 there, so you have to kind of guess. And that's why we have the word approximately. If it's not clearly stated, you're kind of guessing. So you would use the word approximately or around. To a peak of 90,000 in 1990. So here, this is 1990. This is the peak. So, you know, it's kind of, you could argue it's 93, but if you use the word around or approximate, you can get away with that because you don't know. Similarly, so this is looking at something that's similarly illustrated. In Australia and New Zealand, there was a marked increase. So a marked increase, you can see the increase in numbers between 1940 and 1950. So that's here. So this is New Zealand. No, this is Australia, and this is New Zealand. Australia, New Zealand, as you can see, it has increased by a significant amount. So that's all you're doing. You're just describing this increase here. Following this was a leveling off for New Zealand. Now, New Zealand is this. Now, actually, Australia levels off as well. So you could mention that after this, there was a leveling off period for both nations at around 75,000. Now, we don't know. So there's what, 70, this one here, 75. Now, if you wanted to mention this, you could say this is about 70 and 75,000 respectively. So you could say that 70,000 and 75,000 respectively. Respectively means one after the other. Okay, so approximately 75,000 in 1970, right? So that's here. And a slight increase in 1980. So that should say in 1980. Because that's the year we're talking about here. To 85. Now this is talking about this here. This, haven't got the exact. So to approximately 85,000. Then a decrease in 1990 to approximately 75,000. So that's here. So that's the saying that's approximately 75,000 there. Right. Canada's number of prisoners generally fluctuated from 1940 to 1990. So Canada is this. Right, so let's just get rid of this so we can see Canada. Right. So Canada is this. This is Canada. Right. Canada's number of prisoners generally fluctuated from 1940 to 1990 and settled with a slight overall increase to approximately 110,000 in 1990. Right, so let's have a look. So this goes up, then it goes down, then it goes up. So this is a fluctuation to here. So this is the peak here. So a slight overall increase to 110k. So here we've got 120, 100, so about here. So that's what it's saying. It's a bit wobbly. So that's about 110. 110k, 110,000. Right, so what else do we have? Meanwhile, the United States consistently represent the highest number of incarcerated individuals. This is just basically, I'm showing here that I have greater vocabulary. So instead of just saying prisoners all the time, I've said incarcerated individuals. If you want to get a higher score at IELTS, you have to show a range of vocabulary. But please be aware, if you use words that you don't fully understand, you lose marks. So you need to only use words that you understand. So represented the highest number of incarcerated. So this is here. It is the highest number out of all 5 nations. Now I could say at whatever this is, 130,000 maybe. Is that 130? So that's 130,000 prisoners. While population size is a necessary context, so what I'm saying here is the population of the United States is what, 350,000. So the United States has a larger population. So that's all I wanted to mention. You know, you've got what would the percentage per capita be? But we don't know. We're just describing this aspect, this part, this bar chart. We're not adding any other information. Now, if we had a research project, we would look at per capita and we would have some sort of illustration that would show that, and then we would have to describe that. So all you need to do is describe what you can see. The rapid surge in the US prison population between 1980 and 1990 represents a notable and concerning trend. So that's my little add-on there. It is notable. It is an increase. So if you were using this as part of a dissertation or something like that, you might want to look at what else happened. Why was there an increase? What's the correlation? Was it affected by the economy? Was it affected by immigration? What was it affected by war? What happened? Obviously, like I said before, you don't know what that is from the information you've got here. But when you're describing this, describe it the best you can. Okay, thanks for watching this. Please subscribe, and if you have any comments, please comment. If you have any ideas on how you could write this better or write it differently, there's no one way of writing this. You can start with the United States and Canada. You can look at comparisons between Canada and New Zealand. There's no right and wrong way, as long as it's consistent and as long as it's correct.